everyone, welcome back to Lemphalation. This is Jovita here, and today's video is going to be a part of my series called In Conversations With. And today I have my friend Arun here with me, and Arun has a background in architecture from India, and he moved to Melbourne to pursue his masters in construction management. So if you'd like to know more about his journey, then please keep watching. So Arun, I just wanted to start by asking you to just introduce yourself to all of the viewers.
Sure. Hello everyone, my name is Arun and I came to Australia, Melbourne in Feb 2020 to pursue my Masters in Construction Management from Deakin University. Started my educational journey with my diploma in civil engineering back in India, and then I pursued my bachelor's in architecture, and that was when I realized I wanted to go abroad and study much more and get a deeper insight into construction industry.
So Arun, like you mentioned, you wanted to have a deeper insight into the construction industry. So what made you choose Melbourne, and why did you choose to study at Deakin?
So it was during my bachelor's in architecture that I decided I should do a particular course which should be useful to use my diploma in civil engineering and the bachelor's in architecture, and the course which I found out was Masters in Construction Management. And when I searched about it online, I got to know that Deakin is very famous or well known for that particular course throughout Australia, and even due to the same reason there is a large intake of students. And even for as I wanted to settle down in Australia after I finished my studies and everything, and if I was supposed to study in Geelong, I would get regional points. So that was why I chose to do my construction management masters from Deakin University, Geelong campus.
So Arun, like you mentioned, you did have a in-depth research into Deakin. Just wanting to understand the application process, how was that for you? Was it an easy process? And also in terms of the tests required, English proficiency tests, did you have to do any of that as well?
Yes. So when I started researching about what I have to do to get into the Deakin University, or to pursue my education in Australian Australian universities, I got to know that I will have to go through a consultancy which would help me for sure to land in a very good university with the online research. I came to know that IDP was an educational consultancy which was helping, and many of my friends went through them. So I had reference point back there that okay, I have to go to IDP, which would give me much more information. So I did the same thing. I went there, I spoke to them. The first step was obviously what they suggested, and what even I came to know through online was I have to get my IELTS. I have to get a particular score in IELTS, and the second thing was to submit all the documents that's needed. So I started with that, and mostly everything was taken care of by IDP. They helped me even sort out the universities, sort out the courses. I was pretty sure from the starting itself that I wanted to go for construction management. I had few other options in front of me, which was masters in architecture, masters in urban planning, and those things.
I have also gone through IDP, so I know the whole process. It's quite straightforward. They do most of the work for you. In relation to that itself, I just wanted to understand, did you apply for an education loan, and what was that process like for you?
Yes, so I applied for educational loan. So that was one thing. They had informed me that if I have to the initial process, it will even have a checkpoint where we have to submit particular documentations where we are trying to prove as if we can pay the fees, or we have a financial backup. So for that thing I did apply for loan.
So now, Arun, moving into the coursework of your master's degree, just wanted to get an understanding of how did you find it? Was it an easy coursework, or was it a bit challenging for you?
So when it started, I should say that I did find it a bit difficult or a bit challenging. It was mainly because of the different educational system. So basically back in India we have a very different way or different perspective of looking into those things. And when I came here it was very different. Especially I would say that back in India our professors or teachers, they would be behind us to submit the assignments, but back here, no, they don't care. It's totally up to us. Like what they usually like. Even I remember in the first day of the induction itself or the orientation, they did inform us that we expect you people to do it by yourself, like all the assignments to be completed by yourself. So from that day itself, we were like, okay, fine. That's what even we had been doing. But what they meant was very different to what we had been doing previously.
Yeah.
So it was a bit challenging to start with because we have to learn everything by ourselves. They would give us the like all the like the presentations or all the notes and everything, but then we have to put in the effort to compile it, make the assignments. And even back in India we used to have those, especially I will say that the assignments we had basically like more often it used to be essays of particular words, and which we had been doing since childhood. But the way we do it here is very different, and especially when it comes to plagiarism and everything, we have to be very concerned about it, or we have to be sure that we are not like we are not doing anything against it. So so initially it started off with a challenging note.
And in terms of your background in architecture, did that support you in your masters in construction management, or did it like hinder the studies?
Yes, so for me I'll say that from the starting itself it had been a very roller coaster kind of a journey, because like diploma in civil engineering, it's more of like theoretical, or it's based on numerical values and all those things. Like engineering, it was purely engineering. And then I got into architecture, which was more of a like design oriented or a creative field. So, and from there I directly went into construction management, which was again a theoretical and which was again a not so creative field. It was basically we have to go through the notes, we have to study, no much creative things in there. So it was again, even that transition was a bit difficult. And especially when we are doing something, like for example when I did architecture, like I did all these three things, and I would say that architecture was the particular course which I loved the most because of the creativity, because you are designing something, so you are into it, you would do everything, it's fun. But then when you get into the masters, and it's more of like a not completely research based, but still it was something similar, which was a bit complicated with in that particular aspect. But it was like it went good. And yeah.
And in terms of, like you mentioned, you had assignments. Did you have any kind of exams or like just presentations and stuff?
Yes, we had exams. Like we had, I guess, I had exam for just 1 or 2 units. I don't like remember how many units it was.
So overall, how would you rate your your studies or your master's degree here? Like, would you rate it worthwhile, or would you prefer the education back in India?
It was worthwhile. It was worthwhile. Like studying or like even doing the masters in construction management over here, it was very good. I wouldn't say that it didn't meet my expectations or anything.
Arun, just branching into part-time roles, while you were a student, I want to understand, how did you find jobs and how did you manage your work and your studies?
Yeah, so even before coming to Australia, I, not just myself, I would say that everyone who researches gets to know that, oh, when you go back to Australia or anywhere in the world, we can do a bit of part-time and we can earn something, and even the educational consultancies, that's what they say. So with the same mindset, I came here, and I remember from the second day itself, I started looking for job. So I spoke to a few of my seniors and few of like my housemates. So when I came here, it was a 9, like we were 9 people in one particular house, and the other 4 we 4 were new, and other 5 people were like had been staying there for 6 months or 1 year or something like anything. So from them I came to know that what we can do is like we can go out to different like places, we can go speak to them. Some people would be very happy to give us the job on the first day itself. So that's what I did. So after uni, I just started walking around the streets. I just started speaking to people over there. And then, to be honest, at that time, I didn't had any resume with me. So I saw that some of the shops, some of the shopkeepers or some of the people over there, they were asking for the resumes. So I was like, okay, fine. So next day, what I did was like I made like my resume and I got few copies. And I started going, like I started walking through the streets and handing over my resumes to mostly all the shops, all the places. And then I started applying online. That's how I like landed on different part-time jobs. And how I tried to manage it was I try to like back here, we have an option of selecting our own timetable, like creating our own timetable even for the universities. Like we can select the lectures or units on our preferred days. So I chose for those ones, and rest of the days I kept myself available for the work. And after that, just go back home, or like I used to sit in universities and complete my assignments. So, and I used to work in Geelong itself, Geelong CBD itself, and Geelong CBD, it's not very huge, and my campus was back there in the CBD. So I would just when I finish my work, I would go back to my uni. I would sit there and finish my assignment. So that's how I managed my studies and part-time together.
And now, just speaking about the transition from part-time to full-time roles, once you did complete your masters, what were the job aspects for you? Like, what kind of jobs could you do, and how did you apply for those?
After I completed my masters in construction management, I was from the starting itself, I wanted to get into a bit of infrastructure kind of industry. Like initially I was not sure, so I started applying for project manager because we had those like units, and even I was very much interested in applying for those positions. I started applying for project managers, and then I came to know that no, initially we have to start from base role. And so after you finish your construction management, and if you have a bachelor's in architecture, so if you have a background in architecture, what I found was we like the opportunities would be open for you as a estimator, project coordinator, and contract administrator, and those those roles, assistant roles, assistant project coordinator, or like let's say assistant contract administrator or estimator, those kind of roles. And then you progress towards like the project management or that kind of role. So I started I remember the first job I got in the construction industry was as a assistant project coordinator, and then from there I started progressing to different roles.
And how did you initially get into that role?
Yeah, so very similar to how it was like for the part-time jobs, it was not very easy. Even for the part-time jobs, I had to struggle a lot. I had to like the way I told you, like I literally went on streets, I started applying everywhere, and the same way, I'll be honest, I did the same thing for the professional jobs as well. I literally used to go around the streets in Geelong. Like I used to let's say in the morning or like at night, I would sit with the yellow books and I'll Google the construction companies back in Geelong, and the next day I would just go there. I would speak to them. I would ask them if I can speak to the HR, and I used to hand over the resumes over there. And then after coming back home, I would sit and search for jobs on Indeed, Seek, and even LinkedIn, and I would just sit and apply for all those jobs. And it was not easy. It was very difficult and very challenging, and especially because since we don't have Australian local construction experience, because the way they work over here is very different. And even though we have experience, even though I back in India I worked as junior architect, I even worked as a site supervisor when I did my diploma in civil engineering, and then even I did work as a freelance architect where I had my own I was like I had few projects where I was working by myself. So even then, the people over here, like they were not very much confident enough to consider those experience because of the vast difference in the construction methodologies or the techniques that they use here. So it was a bit difficult, but like I believe it's just the first position that you have to get into. Like once you get into the construction industry, it becomes more easier. Once you have the local experience, it becomes more easier.
So Arun, just wanting to understand, when you did apply for jobs, what was the interview process like, and how did you prepare for those interviews?
So the interview process, what I found was, for all the jobs what I did, like all the professional jobs, it was a bit, it had a familiarity, or it had a similar nature, but still was different, and it obviously depended upon the position, whatever it was. And even I would say that it had a similarity with respect to the part-time jobs as well. So one thing what like the interview process follows over here is, they mainly focus on the situation based questions, how you prepare, like how you would work, or like how you would try to come out of a complex situation. That's what mainly they focus on.
Okay, and now also wanting to understand the pay, and what is the base salary like for these jobs? Do you have like a scale that you follow, or how does that work?
Yes, so if you are like if you just finish your masters in construction management, and if you don't have any experience, even though if you have a bachelor's in architecture, or a bachelor's in civil engineering, whatever it is, a person with no experience, when I mean like no experience, I would like to focus on saying that no Australian experience. Even though if you have, like, let's say 10 years of Indian experience, they won't consider it totally. So they would still consider it as zero Australian experience. So in that case, they would start with like, let's say 70,000 Australian dollars in average. That could be a starting point, and there could be some less options as well. But I feel the average is 70. They can progress within the, it depends upon the position and depends upon the company they are working in, and then they can it just goes up.
Yeah, okay. And I just wanted to ask you, did you face any challenges during your work career so far, and how did you deal with those challenges?
So challenges in the sense, obviously, if you want to grow within the industry, there would be challenges. If you want to go to different positions, or like if you want to progress, there would be challenges. One main thing that helped me at least was networking. Like, so you have to be very sure, like you have to be very good with networking. Like, there are many different options there. Like for example, LinkedIn, you can use it for networking, because that's how you can connect with the different recruiting agencies, recruiting companies, because they do help you a lot if you want to progress, if you are looking for job opportunities out there. And even I would say that you have to, I'm not saying that you have to do a lot of things on LinkedIn, but at least maintain a page, maintain your profile in a particular way that you keep it updated, so that the people, even when you are applying for jobs, what they do, the main, like mostly in Australia it is, that they try to look at your LinkedIn profile.
And is there like any tips on networking for any students that are watching this video? Like when they're in university, are there any opportunities for them to network?
Yes, so like in Deakin, I would say that we have a whole website or a whole portal by the name Deakin Talent, and they helped us a lot from starting, like let's say from resume building and resume cover letters, and even they do conduct such events where they train us, or like they do conduct lectures where they advise us like how we have to give the interviews, or like how we can land onto a job, whatever we are seeking. And just keep like attending all the networking events and try to connect with them and have a chat with them, maybe just speak to them. So you never know, like when a connection would become helpful.
And now I just wanted to ask you, because you also have worked in India, how would you rate the work culture here compared to back in India?
The work culture back here and back there is very different, especially in construction industry, I would say. So basically, when I worked as a site supervisor back in India, there was no Saturdays or Sundays. So we will have to work throughout the day, or like whenever we have to be there. So here, the work-life balance is very good. We have 9 to 5 or whatever the time it is, and then we get Saturdays, Sundays off. So it's very good back here, which is very different to what was back in India. So I would rate it like, if compared with India, I would rate it 8 out of 8, not 8, I would say 9 out of 10. Yeah, but it depends upon the companies as well. They have, every company has their own different rules. Yeah.
So now we'll just quickly move into a fun segment of this series. I'm going to ask you a few rapid fire questions, and just to get to know more about your likes and dislikes. So the first one is, what's your favorite cafe that you have tried out in Melbourne?
Yeah, so the favorite cafe I would say is a cafe back in Belfield, and the name was For a Change.
There's a lot of different cuisines and different cultures that we find here. Have you tried out any cuisine that you have liked other than Indian?
I love fish and chips. Favorite cuisine after trying everything, I would say it's the Korean, because it's very similar to Indian, and because even in India we have different cuisines.
Yeah.
So Korean is very similar, and you get spicy food. So yeah.
And based on the places that you have visited in Melbourne, which is your favorite place?
Favorite location in Melbourne, I would say, is the Hardware Lane, because of different food joints back there, and the way they did set their tables outside. So that's the reason why I like that particular place, because you can go there and you have many different variety of options with you wherever you want to go.
And also, because we both are Mallus, I wanted to ask you, what's your favorite Mallu restaurant in Melbourne?
My favorite Mallu restaurant in Melbourne would be Rice and Grill.
And where is this located?
So Rice and Grill is located in 2 places. One is in Dandenong and the other one is in Preston.
What's one fun activity that you've tried out here in Melbourne?
Yeah, the fun activity I did here was skydiving. I did it back in Geelong. It was through Skydive Australia, and it was over Great Ocean Road. So it was good.
And just to finish up the whole video and wrap it all up, I wanted to ask you, do you have any advice for future students that are thinking of moving to Melbourne?
The advice I would like to give to the future students would be, before coming here itself, look for job, and because you will need a job, you will need to start working to manage your funds and everything, to manage your expenses. But at the same time, what I would say is there are a lot of things to do in the university, so never compromise those things. So just manage your time properly. Make sure that you are enjoying your university life. You are taking part in different extracurricular activities back in university, and then I would say prioritize your job. So yeah, that's the only thing I would like to tell them, and other than that, just enjoy.
Thank you, Arun. Thanks for taking out the time and sharing your experiences as well as all of your important and knowledgeable insight with all of the viewers. And that was it for today's video. I hope you found it helpful in some way possible. If you did, don't forget to give this video a big fat thumbs up and also subscribe for more. Don't forget to click the bell icon right next to the subscribe button so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And let me know any of your future suggestions for what kind of videos you'd like to watch next. Leave it in the comment section below, and I will see you in my next one. Until then, peace and love. Bye.
Hello everyone, I am Arun.
What's one fun activity that you've tried out here in Melbourne?
Crickets.
I just remember voice.
No.
You just start with a quick